I do that change into same shoes, pants, and a t-shirt. And I think we got it down to 15 seconds. And it's like, done. And it's because it's like, boom, I'm doing this at the same time, and someone's unhooking my bra, blah, 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 and I'm putting this in. And it's like, it's magical. It's super cool. I wish y'all could see it. But I don't know.
For me, I've had a bit of an opposite, maybe a different experience. I've always dressed myself. Many of my shows I've been in harnesses. I do a little bit of harness work in Kong as well. The vine that comes down. Spoiler! And it's always been that we dress ourselves, but our harnesses in the other shows, I put my harness on, I check it. I go to someone, they check it. If I ever take it off to go to the bathroom or something, I put it on, I check it, someone else checks it, then I go to my spot to get clipped in, they check it before they put me up in the air. For Broadway, though, I've had to understand that with this show that's been so technical, the Broadway world is learning how to adjust to this kind of show. And I've come from a background that's been so technical, so I've also had to understand when to trust my gut and when to speak up and when to say, like, maybe I have an idea of how we can put someone in this position that they can check my harness, because I run in like a Formula One race car, boom, they change my clothes, boom, my wig's off, I go in, and my costume's changed. But when I have to put a harness on, they say, oh no, you put your harness on, you'll know how it feels after a while, and then you go and fly. And I'm like, under whose supervision? Like, I'm doing a King Kong feed today, and you'll see, I don't have it together all the time. So I've had to understand that, okay, this is Broadway, they have their machine working, but also to know when to put in my 2 cents. Also to know when my gut's saying, just go and ask, or have an idea. So a lot of my safety ideas have been implemented in the show. We also do launches off of Kong's shoulder, which are 10, 15, 20-foot launches. We go up to his shoulder. We used to not be clipped in at all. Get a rope thrown to you. We used to have nothing on that rope. Put that rope around your waist, and you launch. So that his arm, because we can lift his 200-pound arm up to his head, but to make it go even higher, you need a body. And I'm the body for some of us, So with my understanding of how we do that the safest way, we had to have some differences. We had to have a safety belt. What if that safety belt could have a quick release? What if that safety belt, what if that rope that we get has a loop in our wrist, just in case if that one day your grip strength just isn't the same and you let go of that rope. So I've also had to I go home and sometimes I beat myself up about speaking up too much, but this is our job, and this is part of building a new show, and this is part of our responsibility as very talented artists that have other backgrounds in other things, and how do we protect one another.
Did you have someone that came in and like a technician or something that looked at the show and was like, this is unsafe or anything, or was this all just like based off of the...
Yeah, I mean, equity does that. I'm learning as we're going, and there's a team that is there for us, and there's certain people that know what's safe and what's not, but they also can't be in every spot every time. So Kong is just a massive undertaking in and of itself. But for my harness work, for instance, I have to go up 5 flights of stairs and then drop in from the top. So that person can't be there to oversee me. So I've had to understand to ask for, I want this and this person to be here when I reach this spot. So I've had to make my own traffic so that it's safest. So I feel like it's been a group effort.
Let's talk about that. That idea of like you being a part of the essence of the show. What has been like a favorite thing that through the creation process of the show is something that you feel like you added to it? Maybe an Easter egg for the audience, or just something that was really you're proud of. Yes, inhale, inhale.
I mean, it's just because I've been a part of it since the lab. And for all the people that were since the part of the lab and even after, but like we like, if there are moves that I do every single night that I made, that I choreographed, or like that me and another person did, and so it's.
What do you mean you choreographed?
In the lab process, I mean, Casey would be like, all right, Stephanie and Nikhil, you guys are gonna be around here, choreograph 16 counts of choreography. And now I do that 16 counts of choreography every single night. You know, and so, but like
That'd
that's
be nice to get that
I know.
check for all of your
I
choreography.
know, but you get extra money for that.
I don't know, there truly is, you know, that show is like something that I've put my brains into and like my heart into and stuff like that. And I think because of that, like we all brought like all of our stops. Like I beatbox in the show, but like I beatbox in general, and now I do it in the show. Also SciCon, but just like being brown and being in the show, being an ensemble member, and like even though there already is a brown person in the show as Kevin G, like I get to bring my own self and who I am into the show, and not having, I don't know.
Do you mean when you go on for Kevin G? or do
No,
you
no,
mean
just
in
being
your
in the
regular
ensemble.
time?
I love to bring that into it every single day. Yeah, I can delve in more, but keep on going. Yeah.
No, I definitely feel that when you're creating a show, the director sort of is there for like the big picture, and sometimes for the ensemble will be placed sort of in little areas of the stage and is sort of like, I don't want to say, yes, spacing, cool. And we are given a scenario or the scene is going on, and we sort of create our own characters and relationships to each other and to justify his direction, right? I want you to cross over here. I want you to talk to so-and-so. I want you to grab the drink from blah, blah, blah. So in terms of creating your own essence in the show or something that you're proud of, I think as ensemblists, like ensemble members, we really have that that opportunity to create those little background stories. And when you're watching a show and you look behind the leads who are there, it's really cool to see what's going on in the background, because the ensemble created that. The ensemble created those little side stories, those relationships that are happening. The little giggles that are happening, maybe jokes are being told, or whatever the character is doing at that moment, the ensemble created, and I love being part of that.
Yeah, at the prom, it was already created what it was, and it pretty much stayed the exact same through the lab in Atlanta. But getting to tech on a new level, right, on Broadway, we had different elements and different size backstage than Atlanta. At the Longacre, it's very, very tight. So we have big set pieces that, you know, can only come from a certain part of the stage. So it's kind of reworking transitions. So creatively, I almost said a very different word that I didn't know what it was going to mean. So creatively, we, during tech, would have problems with like, oh gosh, this set piece needs to come here, but all the choreography has to go that way too. How do we do that? So we would take a 10-minute break. John McGinnis would come find me, our associate, and be like, okay, Jack, how do we do that? And I'm just like, well, we could do, you gotta pull tricks out of your bag, right? So it's kind of doing transitions for us, and then just other weird pieces of choreography that maybe was set, and then Casey Nicola was like, no, I hate it today. I'm like, okay, cool. And then John's like, Jack, what choreography can we do for these 2/8 counts now? And you're like, well, we could do, just those scenarios all over again. So kind of like Nikhil down there, we created little moments, because I was joining later to the show, but it was kind of like, what problem areas did we have in tech that they ended up not liking or not keeping, that, okay, now we need to fill and replace.